Hey, it's Shaves, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this week from the 25th of October to the 1st of November. It's November already, okay. A lot of videos this week, fellas. You were productive. First for the videos that I thought were decent. Pretty good. And I wanted to start with the announcement video for the new Novid challenge, November anime YouTube video. It's not really Novid per se, because it's a different form. Basically, what Joe posits here is that, I don't know. The idea for this challenge, it's the same month of November and 2-minute video, and what you have to do is a literature review where you're citing 3 videos that are on YouTube of the same series, obviously demonstrate an understanding of what they're saying in those videos, and then make it clear of what you're adding to the conversation and make something kind of additive and everything. And so that's an interesting challenge, and I think it lends to, as Joe says, it lends to being able to talk about more popular series. Although for me, the series that I have in mind, I think the only videos that are on about them are like generic reviews, so it's going to be kind of hard to be like, I don't know, if I find something to be additive about, I guess. I have some idea, because there's this one show that I've been meaning to do something on, and I don't think it's been talked about in that particular capacity. So I mean, maybe, but yeah, if just putting that out there, of you guys who make videos, and you probably already know about Joe and Pause and Select and stuff. But yeah, that's going on. So we'll see how that goes. I'll probably see the video if they're uploaded in the month of November, but I'll probably do the same thing I did last year, where I save them all for when the end of the month happens and we react to all of them. So yeah. And speaking of large scale kind of collaboration projects, Study of Swords was in one of them, as well as Kai After Kai. But I noticed that Study of Swords was more about anime per se. The rest of the videos, they're basically centered around death, which is kind of nice, kind of morbid, and they're only 60-second videos. They're only very tiny videos, which I think was interesting. I think Study of Swords did a good job being succinct and just being succinct, I guess. It's fun with these short videos. It is hard to find a lot of things to say about it, but I just wanted to mention it, just because it's a multiple video project. So if you're looking for more stuff to watch, I think this is really interesting. I didn't watch the whole project. It does look like it's a lot of it's like a 20-minute video total, and there's a lot of different YouTubers involved. I think I only really recognize Kai After Kai and Study of Swords, but maybe some other guys, and I just don't recognize their username or something like that. Maybe by the thumbnail or something. But yeah, it's a lot of death-related videos, which I think is interesting. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I just wanted to shout that out. Pretty decent job. Another short video from Hiding in Private. It's Hiding in Public's private or second channel. He made a little AMV type thing, 1998, 1998. Kind of this really seminal year for media, and I really like that it wasn't just animated media, it was video games as well. I think it was a good selection of stuff, and I like that it wasn't trying to be comprehensive of getting everything, or bad stuff and all type of thing. It wasn't trying to be completionist. I don't know, I think I had the right words earlier. I like because that makes the choice is actually very interesting and selective and purposeful, I guess, which I did like about that. I think the pace was good. I think he also used a lane track, which I recognize, and I thought that was really neat too. It wasn't just a random vocal track or anything like that. I did have my own this other idea that's similar to this of 1979, but it would be stuff from 1979 but past, beforehand, up to 1979 basically. Anyway, but that one would be way more on the nose and a little more completionist and elaborate type of thing. But I think this is nice to see as sort of a primer of an idea that I had a similar idea in seeing when someone else attempts something like that. I think it was cool. And yeah, I think the brevity is really smart, to be honest with you. Yeah, it was neat. Another short video. Like I have 17 videos, but I'm gonna rapid fire through a lot of them, I think. TeamFourStar had this very short short horror film. It's called Mr. Business. And at first, the horror type figure here, Mr. Business, was like, it was just in a desk, no windows, and there's just all shadows and stuff. But then like the horror thing, once the guy, the kind of the protagonist sort of thing, sits down. I think he's played by Lanny. Sits down, you can see the Mr. Business's face, and it's like a shrunken head. It kind of reminded me like the Goombas from the Super Mario Brothers movie. And I guess it was made in Unreal Engine 4, and it was pretty interesting. But that's kind of like, I kind of preferred that when it was all dark and stuff, because I like the kind of the shadowless corporate, like, because that it feels like a faceless corporation when it does that. But then when you put it like this bald, very smiley, weird kind of face, uncanny face on it, with a kind of very shrunken head. It's interesting, and I don't think it ruined it or anything for me, but to me it was just sort of like, oh, okay. I thought the dialogue was really interesting, and like very deliberate, and I like the pace of it, the lack of music for the majority of it. I don't know, and it just kind of came out of nowhere for this, and I thought that was neat. Yeah, I like that Team Forest are not trying to do these super elaborate, big, ambitious things. They can do little things like this. I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm talking about TheCynicClinic again. I don't want to talk about all of his videos, but I swear. But this particular one, I just thought it was interesting because it's a new concept for him. Air is set in a dead, dying town. It's a video about Air. And the conceit behind this is that one of his patrons, in this case Gil, commissioned him to talk about Air, just talk about something he thought was interesting about it, and sort of like these sort of, they're making like a whole video essay based on like a patron request. I thought was really bold, a bold request thing to do, but I think it comes out really well, because especially with the form that he's starting to, that he get from the previous video, where he has the green screen set up and stuff, and it feels more replicable. Like, it's really polished and a nice style of video, but it's something you can make fairly easily, which just makes it more likely that you'll actually make more stuff, and it's not very unwieldy in the same way. You're also not like reinventing the wheel or anything, while still making it like visually compelling. So I think settling into this kind of style, I think, is really good. I just think it doesn't have too much surprise or anything too different from the previous video, although it does have some nice technical things in here with like the use of the map and like zooming in on different regions of Japan, things like that. Little small details that are just like really well made, I think, that I'm of course jealous of. But yeah, and I like the analysis too. I think it's like the one observation is really nice, and connecting it to like real cultural stuff was cool too. Yeah, it's a good video, of course. Yeah, I wanted to talk about spilling the milk. I wasn't going to at first, because it's like, well, yeah, it is sort of the thing that they make. But I just wanted to kind of shout it out. I was like, hey, they got a really popular one with this one, and they gained like 5,000 subs or something like recently. So like they really struck a hit with this one, and I wanted to commend them. I wanted to check it out and everything, and I think they did a really good job with it. High Guardian Spice is worse than you think. I think it was a little, like, I could see this coming. This seems a little obvious for them, and in that case, I didn't want to click on it at first, because I know what it is. You know what I mean? But I am happy I did end up watching it, because I came in from the Eden video of him talking about High Guardian Spice, but I think because he kind of talked a little bit more about why it's so uncanny to be watching it now after what we know about it coming out, like the reveal trailer and things like that. I think he focused more on the surrounding things, and then when he got to talk about the show itself, he just went, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. Although it's really funny watching the spilling the milk video, and he's actually the one that's kind of defending it a little bit in places, or like, that bit of animation's good, or things like that. I just think that's really funny, the contrast there. No, but I did like his Eden's video. He's like, maybe I'll make a video of watching the whole thing, but I know you're watching the whole thing because you're watching it for spilling the milk. Because of course you're gonna keep going with this. It's successful, of course. But no, I thought the chemistry with the three of them is really great. I think they each bring a good energy and they're reacting to very similar thing. And again, I think that the best reactions are always when something happens and all of you just kind of wheeze, like the ridiculous thing that happens, or like the kind of the jank animation part that happens in certain places. I also really like kind of the very awkward fumbling of like, yeah, we do appreciate transgender. It's like this. We're not making fun of it for that. We're making fun of it for the way it handled it. And Core's like, you're not making it. You're making it worse. Like the real awkward like fumble of that was really funny. They're not doing anything super like crazy with the editing or anything, and that's fine because like you even did like the same slow backwards like zoom out for like similar reactions. And on one hand I could say that that's sort of like plug and play, not doing too much with the visuals in that way. But on the other hand, I think it was actually kind of smart because each of those little zoom outs were to the same type of reaction, which is sort of like the reeling of like you like shock of this particular moment or something. I think it lent to a synthesis. I don't know. Like it felt like it was a cohesive thing where it's like, oh, this is the type of edit they'd make when they make this kind of joke or this kind of joke. Except like that one was the one that was the most consistent. And then, there could have been patterns in other places, but you do kind of just edit based on what the joke is, which is always has so much variety to it, and the editing has variety to it. But I think that trick was something that was used very often. And on one hand, I think it could be, I just repeat myself, where it's like it could be a bad choice because it's repetitive, but I think it actually reinforced it and became more of a trend or like a reoccurring thing that's like it just makes it funnier and funnier the more you do that exact same zoom out like black void type of footage thing. No, but like I think they nail it as usual, and yeah, it's fun. I also watched the second video, so yeah, I'm definitely excited, and riding the milk train stonks. It's pretty fun. It's good. This is a good video from Chang talking about animation walks, comparing the Japanese walk cycles with Western walk cycles, and it was really funny watching this like right after the spilling the milk video, where they're kind of making fun of the walk cycles in that series. And he's talking about the weirdness where like, well, he first demonstrates the Japanese walk cycle and actually has a lot of montage he uses and uses the particular software and draws it. And he's like, start with a straight line and draw this, like draw like this is describing the type of pose here, and then we're going to do this pose and this pose, and really going in detail with that. And then using that information that we had, he's explaining what the Western walk cycle, where that's different, where they animate on 2s instead of 3s. So they have this weird thing. Instead of like in a 12 frame cycle, they have the first, third, sixth, and like it's split between 3s. In Western, it's split between 2s. So the middle 2 have to be split in half. So it makes it's like you kind of have to do a weird halfway thing between these two poses and then these two and it's not as clear cut as the Japanese. I think he made a really great point where it's like, I think it not only do I personally think it looks better like as a subjective thing, I actually proved to you with kind of evidence here that it's actually a little easier to draw and a little easier to animate in the Japanese style, because it's like it follows this particular logic, whereas the Western one has this awkward, and he even mentions how it's like some of them for that reason they animate on like 8 frames or 16 frames because they have the same thing, and so it's not 12, so it 24 frames per second. That's kind of the natural thing. I don't know, and it was just fascinating, and I like the approach to it as well. It was fascinating. It was interesting. It was good. Positive attributes, positive adjectives. I was pretty happy with this AlexEnterprises video on cat soup, the creepiest anime I've ever seen. And it was mainly because he actually brought a lot of like actually explaining and analyzing it and kind of describing the plot because Catsup is definitely one of those. I've seen it like 5 or 6 times, but when he described that, like, oh, this character's dead the whole time, and I'm like, oh, I honestly didn't even catch it because that shot of it, like, it seems and he explains it really well. It's like, this seems very inconsequential, but there's this really quick shot over here that isn't very flashy or anything. It doesn't really lend it to, unless you're paying really, really close attention to it. So I think that was a really great thing to point out, and I think he paces it really, like, explains the whole thing beat by beat, and not with like, not an excruciating detail or an analytical, like, this is what this character symbolizes, and this scene means this, and these sorts of things. I think he does a nice kind of acknowledging it, but not completely going into the weeds with it, while keeping with this overall focus of the what it's about, basically. And I thought it was really nice. I think it could have, personally, I think it could have like done a little bit more with matching the vibe of the show with the video construction itself. And it's not simply a matter of like using the same orchestration or just using the video clips. I think if you did some stuff at the beginning with like, and there was a little hints of that at the beginning, I think, but I don't know. It's sort of like, I think that could have leaned into a little bit more and kind of shown more of the absurdity and weird things, like, and kind of have a supplementary experience of like, you know, if people have never seen Catsup before, they'd be like, whoa, that's weird. You know, from watching Catsup, they'd be like, oh, it's weird. But I don't think you get that as much from watching this video, but you understand it, and I think that's really valuable and interesting. But in terms of like selling you on how it's the creepiest anime you've ever seen, obviously that's a SEO title or whatever, and it's just sort of a Catsup analysis. But like, if that creepiness was sort of like emphasized in the video itself, and in terms of its aesthetics, I think it could have been even better. But that's fine. Yeah, just one point of critique, but I certainly liked it, and I thought he did a really good job with the analysis itself. Hey, Mudan had finally released the VOD for his Twitch stream when he did the Who Has the Best Drip in AniTube, and I did see the tier list when he posted it on Twitter, and I responded to, "Yay! I'm not mid tier. I'm not mid tier anymore." And but I was on the lower end of drip because, yes, fair. I will admit that a lot of my a lot of the things that I own and wear are things from like camp or like This Is From AmeriCorps and things. Random. I don't like put a lot of effort into drip per se, but you know, fair. I'm gonna rock the black t-shirt. Fuck you. Fuck you. And you know, you could also get like, so they were clowning on them a little bit of like some of the guys were wearing their own merch. like Jeff and Anime Matt. The shirt that you point out with the anime shirt that I have, I made that shirt. So I'm not going to say it's my own merch per se, but I did make that shirt. So it's kind of in the same category, which is hilarious. But you know, you got me. I don't deny it. It's another one of those things for me in my life where I'm like, yeah, I'll figure that out. I guess I'll maybe spend a day or a few days readjusting and maybe getting better drip. I don't know, but I'm fine with what I got. Sorry if that's just about me. I thought the rest of the commentary was great. And it was with Jack, and I think they had really good banter with each other. I thought it was really funny that the whole Trash Taste guys, all of them got into dripping wet. And like, it was funny with Mudan is like, I probably shouldn't have called these categories this, because of the gaki and stuff. It was just awkward and funny. No, I just thought it was really good. I thought the banter was great, and it was a good time. I wish I maybe stick around for the VOD or something. Oh my god, sydsnap. Holy shit. You know, I don't watch like all of her videos because it's the kind of, this is the kind of I'm not like going out of my, like, I'm not like, I've said it before, but like I paid hentai artists to loot me. And I also appreciate that one of the art pieces that she commissioned for this, she couldn't even show even remotely on YouTube because of this thing. Her channel was almost getting demonetized in videos and things. She was getting a lot of trouble lately. So she's like, look, it's all on Patreon, the whole uncensored video. And I think that's fair, because I think it really works in this video's favor, because the things that she's describing, and the particular things that are like, that make it lewd, are the things that are all blacked out. So a lot of it's hard to like, it's hard to, you kind of have to use your imagination unless you go on the Patreon. I think it was a good video in that way, as a vehicle for her Patreon. I thought the commentary was really funny, but I was going to say, I appreciate that she used the art that she couldn't use. I assume this is the same art, like on the thumbnail, that she couldn't use as the last piece of art. That she does include the comments and describing it, but she couldn't show even a little bit of it, not like pretty much nothing of it. But she did have, I assume, is the thing on the thumbnail, based on like the color palette and the little things that I did see of that one. I don't know. This is just my guess. Good thumb, but also just like, oh my god, like this, the premise is so batshit. But like she handles it really, really, really well. Giving really great respect to the artists, and like just the conceit of like, and to putting it to your audience. I think it's like, it's so brave, honestly. But like, I think it just handles it really well. But like, God, I was just in awe of the just the idea of the video. But like I think the execution is also just like, they don't hold back. I also really like that one moment with like, she was like, I wanted to see myself as a furry, and they asked me what color and what kind of. She's like, I don't care. She surprised me. And so like her reaction is like even more visceral for that one, and she's like, oh my god, what the fuck am I doing? And like that was like gave it a nice bit of groundedness, I thought. I just thought it was really funny and a good video. Yeah, it was fun. Hey, and now what I thought were the best videos of the week. The ones I thought were the best. I was like, yeah, this is great. Or I was like, wow, that was pretty good. Or I appreciated that. The first one is actually a glass reflection video of torturing myself as a Canadian with hockey anime. With Mother's Basement, he has like a call with him, and he's like, hey, as a Canadian, and he's like, sure, I have a kilogram of opinions. And then like the rant with like the mini rant of him not liking it either. I thought that gave it a little sense of validity, that it's not just Tristan that's angry as a Canadian at like. And the major hard thing was that apparently like what I'm assuming is the cold open of this show is like the hockey girls, the Japan team is at least competing or beats the Canadian team. And they're like, no, there's no way that would happen. When like the Japanese team has never played hockey before. And I think Tristan makes a really good observation at some point where there is a character later, and they haven't even been introduced in the series proper, but they're the only ones who actually play hockey. But they don't have a character that like is nerdy for hockey or really loves hockey. The core cast are really ones that are just like, let's try hockey. It looks like fun, and what's this? And they all know how to skate at least, which you never really learn. Like, how do they just know how to skate? Which is fair, I think. But like, I like that observation that he made. But the thing that makes kind of the best video for me, is one of the best videos, is just like Tristan's like real passionate rage with this. It's kind of rare for him to be this amped up about something, and just like flustered, I guess. It was just really entertaining. And again, I think he makes really good points, but like, I also really appreciated the thing he has on the cover here with the cup, because he's he's criticizing. It's like, I know it's a stereotype. I mean, it's not actually that good, and I think he relates it to the anime itself, where it's like, it's hockey, yeah, that is the thing, but it's not good. Just because you did the thing doesn't automatically mean it. You know what I mean? That was really, really smart, I thought. And yeah, I don't know, it was really cool. It just, and also that, like, because it's one thing to be just upset about this anime or whatever. I also happened to watch Bennett's latest video on this random samurai OVA or something, and he didn't like. And I watched all of it just to be like, is there going to be something kind of a new spin that you put on this? And no, not really. It wasn't. It wasn't. Didn't seem anything that additive besides being the first person to talk about this show again. And now you're once again he made a video that like he's the authority on it because he's the only one that's talked about it in any capacity. You know, and maybe he's mostly right, but at the same time, it's like there's really no way to tell. But like, there didn't seem to be a personal. What I liked about Tristan's video here is that there seems to be an actual personal stake. Like he loves hockey, and I really liked him talking about his favorite team, the Leaves, and how like they're not a good team, but he roots for them anyway, just in case when they do make it to the championship or whatever. He's like, I was there. I was a fan the whole time. I didn't just join, you know. Like I was, you know, that's sort of the appeal of being a sports fan of a team that doesn't usually do that well. The aesthetic of that I think is really interesting. But he comes at it as having personal stakes, and you kind of learn a bit more about him. I liked also that he mentioned how this review is coming in a little late because he's looking for houses and this whole thing, and he actually gives a kind of a personal anecdote. I thought that was nice too. I don't know. I just really liked this. You know, and it really drives in through the momentum of the video is his like rage for this show, but it's not like over the I wouldn't say it's over the top in the same way and like crazy, but it is sort of like angry, you know, and in his same kind of cadence and other things. But like I just like the personal angle he uses, like, you know, I have a beef with this one. It's like I don't like it, you know, and I don't know. I thought it was the right way to do it personally. I know like this isn't the kind of content I particularly like seeing, but I do think he's coming from a reasonable place. You know, he's not just kind of hating on it for the sake of it. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of liked it. Yeah, it was kind of liked it. No, I really liked it. It was one of my favorites this week. I was just like, yeah, this really affected me. It was good. Really quick before I recorded, I saw clearandsweet uploaded this said something different, and it's certainly something I don't really see him. I wouldn't expect from him. Anime, collectibles, and the impending NFT apocalypse. And it's like, oh, hot button NFT talk. And I really appreciated that he was a lot more neutral about the situation. And he's like, I don't really like how overblown, hyperbolic the negative reaction to NFTs are, and how it's like something criminal the person did if they're involved with NFTs, or an artist is doing NFTs or something. It really does make it seem like they did a crime or something. And I've seen, because I literally saw that in one of Hazel's videos. And Hazel put out like a claymation video, and it's okay. And I haven't talked about it yet. Not yet. I wasn't planning on talking about it. I saw it and I enjoyed it, but I don't have much personal to say about it. But it does remind me how she has this one part where like the artist she's talking about is on YouTube, and he only has 12 patrons and $30 something, and he's been doing claymation shorts by himself for 15 years. Like, that's crazy. And so he's being involved in NFTs, and she's like, oh, that's unfortunate. And like, sure, you can like, I think she even uses that thing of like flashing some stuff, like, yeah, there's huge damage to the rainforest and things like that. But I really like that clearandsweet has a bit of a Q&A and a technical thing at the end where it's like, are NFTs destroying the rainforest? And he's like, well, let me explain a little bit what these are. And like, we're Ethernet, Ethernet, I don't know. Ethereum? I don't know shit. Even though I watched it. He goes into explanation about it, and I think the short answer was like, if they're using this method, yes, absolutely, they're destroying the rainforest. It takes a massive amount of energy to use. If they're using this method of NFTs, then no, not really. Actually, it's actually very minimal. I think he said that the output is something of like 35 homes. Like using this particular thing that of NFTs, this particular method. So you have to look into each NFT and see what method they're using and he actually describes what an NFT is and what you can and can't do with it. Like, you don't actually own rights to the image that you get the NFT for. you really don't. Which makes sense. It's so yeah, it's like, and I really like the beginning where he's talking about like where the mentality comes from with collectibles, and that's the anime collectibles part, and he kind of uses the analogy of like cells and buying the cells of something, and he's like, this is, he doesn't make a full, he's not equating them to NFTs, but he's like, people don't look at it weird just because because it's an individual thing, and and he tackles like how it's a purely digital thing. But I like that his point of like, you can buy screen cap like prints from merchant from KyoAni of like screen caps from the show. You can do that. Since they're just digital, there's no cell equivalent. But he introduces this really interesting, perhaps if like no one's done this yet, like this in the North Star, it was just moments, and I like that he used that analogy. He had that example. But like, what if Miyazaki, for whatever, he probably wouldn't, but the example he has is like, what if he sold every panel from Nausicaa, and then you get, so like you bought this particular panel that you like, and it's similar to limited editions. Like I got, like, you have number 822 out of the Spice and Wolf novels, and it's worth this much, or anything like that. It's the idea of collectibles in general, and its relationship to anime, and exploiting somebody's affection or fandom for it. Whereas he sees it's really kind of trivial and silly how most people are using NFTs to make these like avatars that, who gives a shit? Like, they don't even look that good, and they don't have any, there's no narrative, or it doesn't come from anything. It's just some random art. And people are just kind of using it to kind of flip it and try to like, make it worth something, like collectibles, like baseball cards or something. And it is wasteful, and there's but he's making a much more neutral argument here, where it's like, they can't, this is gonna be much more of a thing with artists, and especially with anime and manga, because they can and they're able to. And I think it's a fair argument, honestly. I don't have like as much of a moral state, and he said that this wasn't a video to try to convince somebody of one or the other, but I think it's just presenting an argument. I think it's fair. But that was like really well done with him, because of course he's great with analysis and things, but this is more of a metatextual, different kind of video for him, and I thought he did a really good job with it. Yeah, I would encourage you to check this out. And NFTs are the devil. Like sure. Like, okay, I think you could still watch this, and I'm not saying it change your mind. I'm not saying this is a positive NFT video. It's more like a rational, like, let's actually understand what this thing is, instead of demonizing something and just kind of shutting down all conversation of it. Let's actually like understand, like look at a notepad. Like, he actually shows you an NFT, and it's just a string of code that's like a hyperlink to the image, and it's nothing. And so he's very transparent about this sort of stuff. I don't know. I just thought it was really really well done. I liked it a lot. Man, I knew he'd kick this one out of the park. Like, punt it and football. Yeah, I'm fucking sorry. Beyond Ghibli, 1 inch, the best of Asian cinema. It's funny. I didn't actually get what the 1 inch meant until I watched the video. I'm like, oh, that's really clever and great. That's true. Oh man, no. And again, I knew he, like, this is the sort of stuff that he's great at, and it is marrying those two things that I thought he was particularly good at. Like, when he talked about Hannah and Alice, I really liked that perspective from him, and also his other live action, the Netflix series that he talked about a while back. That's like Homes, or I don't remember. It's like a reality show or something. I like those kind of. I think he's really good at talking about this kind of cinema, and I've always thought he's really good talking in an anthological, I don't know, anthological type of video, where he's talking about a little different movie media, like in an anthology shapes. You have to describe it. Jeez, it's so painful. I'm doing such a bad job. I'm sorry, Joe. No, it sort of like fits into place. It just clicks here, where like it totally makes sense that he's talking about this. And I thought the selection was really surprising and good too, because it's not any. I haven't heard of any of these movies. I think I've seen some of them that he shows on screen, of course, and that was also really well edited, of course. But like the choice was really great. I hadn't heard of any of them, and they all had different variety within each other, which I thought was really smart. I would have wanted like a 50-minute video of this, of just like more movies, please. Movie, please. Honestly, I'd want more of it. I really was craving for more by the end of the thing, and especially when you're doing that montage at the beginning and then at the end, we're rapid firing through all these. I'm like, I want to watch that. I want to watch that too. I want to watch that too. But I have all this anime I'm watching. It was so annoying. No, but in a good way, of course. It's the idea. Yeah, no, I thought it was part like slam dunk. Now I'm on basketball metaphors. Perfect, great. I don't know why sports is on my mind. Yeah, it worked so well, and I don't know what else to say. It's sort of like I've said the other stuff before, but it's like now he's just doing both of them, and I'm like, it's ideal. It's perfect. And really, my only thing like that's frustrating about it is that I just want more of it now. I just want him to talk more about Asian cinema now, and just show me more, I guess. I thought that especially the Japanese selection, like the fact that he toes the line away from like, I both don't want to do the weird Japan route, and I don't want to do the critically acclaimed, it's actually really good cinema, guys, Akira Kurosawa. Here's Ikiru. Right? Like it's not an Akira Kurosawa film. That the choice was perfect. And like even having the two movies kind of like, they felt like a tie, right? You could just talk about one, but both of them are really good picks, and they're kind of in a similar music type genre. I thought that was really smart. Yeah, like all of them look like bangers, and even the ones that you didn't even talk about, like the way the clip selection. I'm just repeating myself. Great job, Joe, as usual. Sarah Moon had a pretty fast turnaround with this, because I could have sworn that the initial post that she's reacting to here came in like a few days ago. I was just surprised. It's a 20-minute video. Our fan translation's bad. And she's mainly stemming from that post that a lot of translators were reacting to and shitting on, which then got dogpiled by a lot of other people and the counter arguments and things. And I really like the approach that Sarah Moon has, where it shouldn't be a one or the other thing. We really have to like, it shouldn't be, yeah, it just shouldn't like be taking sides or anything. It needs to have a nuanced conversation, I think. And yeah, she has that same like really dry wit and sort of performative, almost ContraPoints-esque type of delivery here, but it is very simplistic. And that's fine. It didn't have to go bells and whistles or anything. I think for the turnaround of this and working on it for the past few days, I think the results are really good. Even when there's little moments here and there where she's like, I'm tired of finding B footage, so here's just the avatar with the text or just talking. Totally feel that. Totally understand that. I think for the sake of me making it kind of relevant and stuff, and the pace of it I thought it was okay. But yeah, I really liked the device, and she's used it in previous videos where she gives the potential argument, like talking to another fan, like gives the question and stuff, and then she's like, yeah, and then and it's even time stamped, which I thought was really nice. It kind of gave an idea of like how long each question is being addressed with, because you can see the bar and stuff. Personally, I thought that was a kind of a good way to make it through the whole video. Not in a bad, like it would have been like a slog otherwise, not like that. It was just sort of like eager to see what she would say here. When it was a longer section, it's like, ooh, there's a lot to this, or something like that, right? I don't know. There's just something like, as a metatextual, as an audience member, something I was noticing that when it came to the time stamps, I thought it was kind of interesting. But yeah, like I think she has really great arguments and perspective. Her perspective is great. I really like that one moment with she was like thanking her prior self, which is like, because like the question is like the comment potential, the imaginary commentary is just like, you pro translators wouldn't exist without us amateur translators or without us fan translators in the past or whatever. It's just like, you're right. Thanks, past me, who did the amateur right. Like, she was in this position before. And I think that's completely like, it's not like people who were pros were never like, I never scale. Like, there are some of the guys who are just total dicks, I think, that are just like very hard stop and everything. But I think Sarah has a really great balance, like nuanced perspective. It's like, yeah, it does stink that all these other ones aren't translated into this and that. Although I do appreciate, it's a fair point. It's not a point that I think everyone will accept or understand or agree with. I certainly can't feel that way personally, but I like, the fact she says it's like, yeah, she's not pulling any punches, where she's like, I just go read something else. It's like, yeah, that is fair. There is a lot out there that is completely legally available, and it's, to completely avoid the professional stuff is really stupid in my opinion. But it's just, my take as someone who actually who also works in the industry, right? Yeah, whatever. But yeah, no, I thought it was a great video, and the turnaround was really great, and yeah, I just thought it was awesome. I really appreciated it. Anime Back When with season 4, and then we're back with some OVAs you missed: 3x3 Eyes, Biohunter, and The Laughing Target. It wasn't so much the talking about the ones itself, or like, because obviously I think the actual selection is kind of interesting and it has some variety to it, but like I just wanted to put this in here and have it as the best one because I really think that he's kind of stepped it up a little bit with the visual presentation and his delivery. His delivery seems a lot more natural. I especially loved the intro. There's something about it that just seemed really casual and playful and like fun and engaging. It just felt like you were getting better at this, dude. And it was so encouraging and cool to see. Even talking about the OVAs themselves, I think like I wasn't so much engaged with what you were talking about so much as how you were saying it and how you're presenting it. Like the different things you were putting in the editing here with like the occasional like GIFs and like reaction images and this little penguin or a little panda. I don't know what animal it was, but it was this little cute white animal that shows up right here, occasionally like a welcome or hello. And I didn't even know what that was. I was like, wait, huh? But like, it's so charming. It was so charming. I was so fucking with this, dude. Like I was having like just a really nice time with your video. And that's just what I want out of videos sometimes, man. And I just thought it was a good vibe. I really like the new card of the season 4 thing. I know people were we're really going after you with the season 3 thing. I think the season 4 one does look really good. Not like I didn't like the season 3 thing, of course. They did have that similar kind of the word that's coming to my mind is junky, but junkies make it sound, I don't want it to come off as a negative thing. I just like the kind of PC and kind of, you don't know what you're going to get with this. And the kind of like the having a personal stamp, it gives a personalization to this and a stamp to it. I think there's something to be said about people who make a really polished and posh and really professional looking transitions and effects and things. It's kind of soulless almost, because it can kind of be like anybody can do that, or like, you just bought those assets or something like that. Or there's just something about it, right? That it doesn't have a personalization to it. It doesn't have your perspective and touch. And that's what I got from this video. I felt like I got you, and like your taste and your humor and your perspective, I don't know. I think I really just want to commend, like, I'm just happy you're back also, but like more so just that the aesthetics of here were just really fun, even if they're not the most like mind-blowing thing in the world, of course, and it might also seem kind of dumb and random to some people, like the little penguin, like little thing in the middle here, but I think it's really charming, and like you don't see that in other videos, because you can get like a kind of generic video essay and you can, whatever, it's just, at the very least with this, I think it's something like, oh, what the heck, or what's this, or I don't know, I just really liked it. And I also, again, your vibe, I think you're getting much better with describing things and having a presence and stuff. I don't know, it was just sick. It was sick. I just really liked it. It was cool. Oh my gosh, Metahulk's back. Yeah, we had the last 2 people, 3 people, because Anime Back When had like a had a month hiatus. But Metahulk hasn't uploaded a video in 11 months. And I think it's mostly because he was working on this thing. I don't know if this is the first time that Metahulk, that he's been on camera in a main video like this. He probably was. I feel like that feels familiar to me. I can't remember though. But like, so this is we joined a real anime school and it was terrible. And it's a collab with Joe from Pause and Select, and I think it went really well. But like to start with though, I was just kind of taken as like how really it was cool, like being like seeing Metahulk on camera. I thought it just worked really, really well. And I think you had a really good presence, and you just seemed like you had practiced this, and it had a really good vibe to it. And I was really excited. And I think that the premise is to die for, especially when you get into it. Like the very first thing that they do is Betty Boop Snow White 1993. Are you kidding? Gold, my dude. Like, how did you find this? Oh my, like, I don't know how anyone, I've never heard of this. I don't know what this is. How did you find this? And it's like, it's a gold mine. And I already can, he's like, this is one video of several multi-part video of a multi-part series of a multi-part series. Like, there's 5 sessions and there's multiple videos per session. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. This is divine. And I definitely recommend you guys this video to just watching it because it's so funny and interesting, but also like just for more of it because it's like I think it's gonna be awesome. And yeah, I'm really happy to see Metahulk back. But like the dynamic he has with Joe is great because I like that Metahulk's the one that's like pausing, is like, wait, that's weird, or you know, and kind of guiding the whole conversation and things. But Joe's the one that is bringing a lot of the insight and correcting the person, and giving some of the history and stuff. And you know, he's having the corrections in the comments as well if there's some things that he's not looking this stuff up. It is sort of off the top of his head. It reminded me a lot of what I'm doing with the Anime Encyclopedia right now, except it's like live and it's like pausing a video, and it obviously way more mistakes, like way more like really obvious, like do they even know what they're talking about? Like baffling choices. Like there's some weird stuff in like the Anime Encyclopedia, but like it's pretty good for the like considering how much information is in it. This is like a mess. And it was just really crazy. I think you just hit like gold with this personally, I think. Metahulk. And but I really think that the presence on screen was really great, and I know Joe's been really good on screen lately. He's been practicing that with doing his reaction videos as well as like, you know, doing his own main video stuff. I think it was coming up really fruitfully here. It feels both informative but also similar to like Spilling the Milk, just being like reactionary and like reacting to this terrible thing, like being very visceral in that way, but also being kind of informative. But I like that the observation Metahulk had at the end where he's like, I feel like I got less smart watching. He's like the information's kind of extracting out of my brain, and I feel that because whenever I read something weird in the Anime Encyclopedia, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like I'm going to become the Joker. No, I'm sorry. And also, Joe also got like, he did correct it in the comments, but he says Astro Boy 1964. It's 1963. What's going on? Everybody seems to like this is the thing at Digest, I guess, where it's like people just don't know what year Astro Boy came out. Why not? But it's funny. Obviously, he corrected it's fine. It's not like a scripted thing. It was fine, but it was just sort of like the thing. I was like, and then he corrects it in the comments. No, but I just liked the dynamics the two of you had. It felt both funny and informative and just really well made. I thought it was really well paced, and I'm really looking forward to more. I'm just really excited for this, and welcome back. Really great job. Oh, but like, he came on the same week as the funebure video, one that he has also not uploaded in quite a while, because he's been working on this video for, at least according to the video, like September of 2020, you know, or something like that. Oh my god. you know, I've said before where it's like funebure should really have like 100K right now, based on the high level of output that he has with the quality. Maybe not quantity, which is what YouTube wants, unfortunately, but like this video, dude, he stepped it up again. It's like it's the same kind of step up with like TheCynicClinic. It just where it's like you're coming from just voiceover and like video editing to filming like live action stuff, but he's not necessarily on camera. He still has like the puppet thing, and he's doing the similar thing that Noodle's doing. Noodle also uploaded a video after a little bit, and I watched some of it, but it's not anime. It's a Psychonauts 2 video, and I was like, yeah, it's fine. So I didn't really want to like mention it or anything, but it's very similar with like the puppet on a stick or whatever, and that's showing up in his other content, of course. But this seemed like, I mean, I don't know if it was an After Effects thing, but I do think that like this seemed more like legit like live action thing. But like the background is all in color, and like, but it just felt like another level, like another 2 levels of like evolution for his content. The filming looks so professional, and like the way the thing that he was like, he's putting it on the table and like showing the actual fucking filming of it. Like, I know Joe is capable of doing this stuff, but he just hasn't like I mean, none of his content is obviously has done that particular kind of thing, but it is that level of professional, so I shouldn't wholly say that. But like I was going to say, nobody in our space is this professional. I don't know. I literally don't know who it, like, all of us are just behind our like just doing the video editing in our fucking voice. And it makes us look like fucking chumps compared to like how like fucking professional this looks. And it looks so good. It looks so good. Like just pushing the thing out, and like and I love the examples, of course, with like the, you know, using his own collection and things. But like, what the fuck? Yeah. I couldn't believe it, man. Collector Anime Physical Media is the name of the video, by the way. And he's really just kind of doing this as like talking about his gripes with physical media, and how like a lot of it they're not making it worth it. You know, the menus, you're going through all this hassle to put in the DVD and go through all these menus and things like that, and all it is an interactive menu. There's no commentaries, and no this, there's no that. There's not a lot of features to it. And that's fair. I neglected to mention, like, I totally forgot. I was in the zone with like praising how good your video is. I forgot to mention that like it is fair that these Blu-rays in particular should have all these features, especially if they exist on other discs and they're just not present on the disc itself, I guess. But that's the thing. If those features exist at all, you know, one of the points you mentioned of like, yeah, the interview with the dub actors is fine, but I'd rather hear from the director or the people who really worked on it. And it's like, yeah, that has to either exist or someone has to make that, and like it's either extra resources or reaching out to those directors and things like that. Like there's a whole correspondence. This is the overseas thing, right? We created a featurette for Project ACO, focusing on the music and the composers, and we were able to do that because the composers live in Los Angeles. They're American. And so like we thankfully, and also like they were willing to do it. Like my boss reached out to them and they said yes, and we got that information and we were able to get it. We were able to make it, and also with their consent, like they approved of it. Like there's a lot more to go into this sort of thing. If they even have those, you know, if the features have even exist, it's a whole thing really. So that was just like that's like if they're those things exist. Like, where's the comment? Where's all these things that this? Yeah, so that has to exist first, or it has to be made, and it's very difficult for an overseas licensor, an English-speaking one in particular, to do that for like Japanese thing unless it already exists. And if that's the case, then like we ask for the materials, like, hey, there's this on this disc, can we use that? And most companies are cool with that. But sometimes they don't want you to for whatever stupid reason. And it's always a matter of what they give us and what they allow us to use. But I just wanted to point that out. It doesn't take away from your video at all. I think it's very fair to point all this stuff out and to demand that as a consumer. And
and I was just busy praising your video, and I forgot to mention that. But yeah, I think it's fair.
I completely see that. And it is funny. I know he had told me he was working on something like this, but he didn't tell me a lot of the details or anything. And I'd honestly forgotten that that he was working on it until this came out. But it is funny that how he makes this video. When he was also helping me co-edit the You Should Buy Anime video. But I really like his perspective on this, like purely as a consumer. Whereas like these books could be better, like in terms of like making the pictures bigger, and like he's making a lot of really great points and observations, and I like that he went through the kind of the whole gambit, and even just describing the cover, the spine, the bat, and going through all of it with his level of performativity, his humor, his different voice and the sound designs on it. There was little bits where he was fast forwarding some of the points, and he was just trying to sweep away a lot of the things that would make this a longer, more kind of bloated type of video, because he's trying to like dive into these arguments of piracy or like these other things and whatever. He just uses that as kind of like condensing and like making a quick acknowledgement, but then really keeping squarely focused on discussing the hard elements of the aesthetics of a DVD or like a Blu-ray or art books, general books like Japanese books or other things like manga, talking about all that sort of stuff. And yeah, going through each bit of it, Japanese imports. I don't know. I just thought it was really additive and interesting, and a really valuable perspective. But on top of all of that, with the level of polish and the editing, I don't want to just say that it really isn't just editing here. Like there was a guy who visited Halloween last night. We had like a party here, and he was talking. He was like, "Can you make like professional videos? If I pay this much or whatever?" But it's like, to me, I'm just an editor. I just make things like look good with the footage I have. With what materials I'm given. If you take a vertical video of something, I can only do so much with that. I'll maybe I can make it kind of look good, but it would be better if it was shot on a really nice camera or a drone, or you know what I mean? Like, it is always a matter of what do you shoot? How do you shoot? Like, how do you go about that? That is a completely different skill in video making than the editing process, which is something that I like to say that I'm good at. Or at least I think I'm good at, or whatever. That editing is much different from the stuff that funebure is doing here, with sound mixing, with the filming of this stuff, and like the set design, some of the fucking one-off cutaway title cards and things like that, like the Japanese the I don't know what it's called, like the water thing. It says he has one of the, I don't know if that's stock footage or something. I don't know. It didn't seem like it, because it was all it all seemed very cohesive stylistically with the rest of the video. It didn't just feel like you can tell when something's stock footage or not. And it's one thing to have stock footage, and it's another thing to just be additive new aesthetic of something, and it's just oh, it's gorgeous. I literally can't believe how and of course it takes forever to make, on top of his other job and stuff, and goddamn it, he needs more fucking attention on this, man. It's fuck this game, dude. But no, I'm just happy he made it, and I'm just happy he's putting this out there, and really this is one of the best videos I've seen this year. This year it was weird. 2020 and 2019, obviously 2019 I only started halfway through the year, and I wasn't thinking about it as much. 2020 I was thinking about it a fair deal of what the best videos were. 2021 it's just that there hasn't been that many videos, despite me having done Digest pretty much the whole year, pretty much. I haven't had that pang of this is one of the best videos of the year until this video. Or maybe I have, and I'm just bullshitting you. I just forget. No, but I distinctly, this video, I was this is one of the best things I've seen all year. This is insane. This is fucking great. Are you fucking kidding? I was Jesus Christ. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is sick. I'm sorry I can't gush much else about it, but it's what can I say? Of course. God damn it. Yeah, that'll do it for this installment of AniTube Digest. Thank you very much for watching. You guys are great. You have a great week. Yo, peace.